Good morning, all you lovely people, and welcome to the yoga mat this Monday morning. So, as just mentioning there before, this is a practice to really nourish our body from the inside as the temperature drops a little bit, as the wind blows, to open up the lung energy and just balance out the lung energy through the body. At the same time, working with our roots to the earth. Because I suppose as nature kind of slows down in a way, and as there's this sense of the leaves falling off the trees, letting go really, and things coming back down to earth, so too in ourselves, from that outwardness of the beginning of the year. It's a lovely pause, I always think, autumn, to just, press the reset button and take that little bit of time to reflect on how our year is going. How are we in this year? How are we in this moment of time? And resetting ourselves within that to kind of continue projects or experience things that maybe have been put on hold the first half of the year, but also to look at where we have got to, but also maybe what we don't need to carry with us anymore. Maybe things that we have outgrown as the years progress, that we may be holding on to, whether that's habits, life circumstances, certain relationships, ways of being or doing, just looking at ourselves and resetting things. So, hands coming to the knees, and we're starting today this morning with a little bit of spinal flexing. So as we breathe in, elbows can come to the sides a little bit, and breathing in, you're scooping your spine up and forward. Your chin will come upwards towards the ceiling, and then breathing out, curving into the spine, chin to throat, drawing back. Use your core muscles here to bring warmth to the body. And then in-breath from the core, lifting up, flexing up and through the spine, all the way up into the skull. And then your out-breath, the opposite, drawing into the core, the spine will curve round, the chin will follow to the throat, and we're into another in-breath. Now, from doing a few rounds quite slowly with your breath, you may want to speed this up. You may want to work slowly this morning. But equally, you may want to just have a shorter, sharper breath, so you move with the breath in that short, sharp way. So out breath, in, out, in, out, in, out. We'll carry on going whatever pace you want to, a few rounds of breath. And then we'll all slow it down. And breathing in, we'll lift up through the spine again, letting the shoulders shrug down. And breathing out, hands coming just in front of you. And we'll walk them forwards a little bit. Now, just make sure here the shoulders don't come too far forward. So you've got a softness, you've still got space along the neck. And giving yourself a couple of full rounds of breath there. With the next round of breath, as you breathe out, let your chin drop into the throat. And we'll slide the hands up, and you're arriving up and into sitting. And now we're going to bring the hands around the backs of the legs and let the feet hang just in front of us. Now note here, if your core wants to collapse, by which I mean the shoulders will scoop forward a bit, and you just feel a bit unsupported from the belly. See if you can draw up and into your core. Now as you do that, you'll notice that the spine naturally lifts. You don't actually have to pull the spine up, because you're lifting through your core and giving yourself that extra little bit of support. We'll let the feet hang. in front of us, still keeping the core supported. And then either dropping the feet down if you want to support the base of the spine, or else letting the feet continue to hover. We all breathe in, lift up, and out breath, hands coming down and to the sides of the body. And from there, heels coming down, and we stretch out the legs out in front of us. Breathe in and draw up into your spine. And breathing out, letting your spine float forward towards the legs. Your arms are still out behind you, and you're arriving into a forward fold. Now, once you kind of arrive at your edges along the backs of the legs, or maybe in the hips or the lower spine, just pause there. You don't need to go any further than that. And letting yourself breathe a couple more rounds of breath here. And if and where you can you create some space within your body? Can you soften into this shape? Breathe into the edges of the body. You notice at this point that some of those edges, they're getting more intense rather than less intense. And just ease out a little bit so you can keep that softness within you rather than the sensations threatening to overwhelm a little bit. Next round of breath. And out breath, we're sliding the hands back. And we're going to find our way onto all fours this morning. So coming onto your mat, if you're not there, hands spread wide, feet spread wide. I'm not wide, but no, what's the word? Hips width apart from one another. And breathing out, we hinge back towards the heels, so your arms are stretched out in front of you. Breathing in, come onto all fours, and you can draw the spine forwards a little bit between the hands. Now, to do that and feel comfortable, draw up your belly again towards the base of the spine. So all the time you're keeping this lift as we draw back towards the heels. And as you breathe your way forwards between the hands. Let yourself move a couple of rounds of breath here. Nice full rounds of breath. Easy flow of movement. Just arriving with yourself and your body here on this Monday morning. We'll do one more round together. So with the out breath back to heels and your in breath easing forward again. Then tucking under your toes, start to walk your pelvis back towards your heels. Now, you can use your hands here as a bit of a prop on the floor, or you may want to slide your hands up onto your knees to really lift up through the arches. Now, imagine there's a cord attached right to the crown of the head, and that's drawing your spine up. So your spine is stacked above the pelvis, rather than trying to escape it a little bit and ease forward. Your blocks here could come in useful because you could put your hands on your blocks to get a little bit of lift. And if your hands are on the floor, you can still lift up through the spine here, get the same space. Next round of breath. And sliding your hands forward now. Spread the fingers wide. Now we'll lift up the fingertips and we'll lift up the fingers here. Can you stretch out each one of your fingers like starfish and then dropping them down to the mat and anchoring your hands down? So then breathing out, we'll start to lift up and back into down dog, a little bit of bend through the knees. With the heels slightly lifted, we're going to bounce out through the legs. It's like you're shaking any tightness or anything that's not really giving you wellness within mind, within body, but anything that you're just aware of that, you know, you're not really enjoying the sensation of it. If there's any habits within that you can let go of, just imagine you're shaking those out, creating a little bit of space in the body as you bounce. From the next bounce or so, we then draw our pelvis up and back and we'll lengthen out through the backs of the legs. Clear triangle shape here in your down dog. Let the spine hang down between the shoulders. Anchor your feet towards the mat. Feel your pelvis lifting up towards the sky. And breathing in, looking forward, we start to walk the feet up and into a forward fold, hips width apart from one another at the feet. And we reach around the backs of the legs wherever you want to, and we're going to draw the spine down and into that forward fold. Now, if you note your shoulders are pulling down here, just slide your hands up a bit further up the legs. You've got a softness through the shoulders. And let your head hang down. And let your breath fill your body here. Feel any edges, note any areas of resistance. On a physical level, also on an emotional level, you know, when you can feel almost a bit distracted sometimes, or the mind wants to move on, almost away from what you're experiencing. Just noting those tendencies without pushing at them, pulling at them, needing to change them, letting those flow through you. Now bending your knees and looking forward, we'll take the arms out behind us, like you're in a ski jump. And when you're here, draw up through your belly again towards the back of the spine. And keeping the knees bent, we'll start to lift up, and the arms will float up above the head. So you've arrived in Utkatasana, in chair pose here. And with your next out breath, your palms will come together above the head. And for the next moment, we'll reach up into the fingertips. So we're really lifting up through the spine, even as our knees are still bent. And out breath, straightening the legs and drawing the palms back down and into the heart. Hands at the heart, we interlace the fingers and scooping down the hands to lift our left knee and scoop the left knee up into the hands. So we're going to draw that left knee up towards the chest. Now hold a steady balance there. You may want to let go of one hand and touch a wall just to have a little bit of balance support. Now flex that left foot. And then flexing that foot as if you're pushing the air down with the foot. Start to lower it down and to the floor. And anchoring both feet down on the mat again, hands to the heart. And we'll take a deep in-breath, and the palms will lift up. Excuse me. And breathing out, we'll take ourselves into a forward fold. Now, a nice soft forward fold here. So your spine is hanging a bit like a rag doll. And you can put a bit of movement through the body here. You can put a bit of movement through the head as well. And then again, centering the spine and bending the knees and drawing the arms again back out behind you. So you're back into your ski jump, looking forward, belly to spine. And in breath with the knees bent, the arms will float up again. Keep the knees bent here. So you're in Utkatasana again, in chair pose, sitting deep in your chair. Arms reaching out and up. And we take the palms again together again. Another breath to really lift up. And then out breath again, hands coming back and into the heart, elbows out to either sides. Give yourself a breath or so here just to feel the shift of energy through the body. Use your breath, the touch of breath inside you as a focal point, an anchor, which helps to steady the mind, calm the mind. Now we're going to come into balance using the right leg. So interlace your fingers again. If you want, you could interlace them the way that feels less comfortable. And then rooting down into your left leg, the right knee will lift up. And we're reaching down towards the right shin. And we're going to draw that right knee up and into the chest. You may find one side's quite a lot easier than the other, depending on the strength in the legs. Again, you might want to use a wall just to hold on to. Just use that left hand as a balance point. Anchor the left leg. One more breath, lift up. And then flex the right foot again and start to push that right foot down towards the floor. Go slowly, keep the control, belly to spine. And right foot coming down and to the mat. Both hands at the heart. A big in-breath, the arms will circle up and either sides of you. An out-breath, as if you're drawing the sky down towards the earth. Let the hands float down, palms facing down. So another in-breath, palms lifting through the sky. Feel the air resistance as the hands move through. And then your out-breath, the palms turn down and you're drawing the sky down to earth. And we bring one palm on top of the other on the abdomen. And we just take the hands in little circles here. Almost like we're centering our energy here now. Back in the core. And then separating the hands and shaking the arms out and bouncing out through the legs. Again, we're just shaking the body out, shaking out any tightness, shaking out anything that's a bit tense inside us. Letting it all go and bounce its way out. And when you're ready to come back into stillness, arriving into Tadasana and letting your eyes shut here for a moment, the breath soft, settled. Feeling this moment as it arises, as your breath touches your body, as your breath releases from the body. And if you are visual here, you may like to imagine your breath as light, so golden white light that will flow inside you as you breathe in, like sunlight dances on water. Almost like you're filling yourself up with life, with your breath. And as you breathe out, that light, rather than leaving the body, can radiate out through the body and fill you with light from the inside. Like a candle lights up a dark room, so too with your breath. You're infusing your body in a sea of light. Breathing in, palms facing up, lift your hands up and to the heart into breath. Then eyes opening again, we find our way up and to the top of the mat. Feet again, hips width apart from one another. Now give yourself a nice big in-breath and let your hands float up either sides of the body. Really stretch up into your fingertips. You may want to stay there for a breath or so. I'm just going to switch the light on. And then when you're ready to from here, we're going to come into a forward fold. So breathe out and find your way down and into Uttanasana. Again, you may want to just give yourself 1 or 2 rounds of breath here. In breath, we offer the spine forward. So drawing the spine forward, lifting up through the heart, drawing up through the belly. And from here, find your way back and into down dog. A big step back and arriving in down dog. In breath, either into plank or else dropping your knees down and to the mat onto all fours. And then either lower yourself down in plank or breathe out, take your pelvis back towards heels. And we'll all find our way moving forward from the heels onto the belly and then from here into Cobra. Breathe your way into Cobra and breathing out back to all fours and lifting up. From there, if you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can kind of push your way up into plank. So you lift up and draw up and then back into down dog. And arriving in down dog, we pedal the legs from side to side. You may want to lift up each foot in turn, so you also find a sense of balance through the body. And then lifting both heels as high as you can, squeeze your belly towards your thighs and looking forward, breathing in. We step or walk the feet up towards the hands and we offer the spine forward. Breathe out as you fold deeply down the legs. And then rooting down into both soles of the feet, start to rise up. And the spine will lift, the arms will float up, fingertips connecting above the head. And out breath. You're arriving back and into the heart. Another big in-breath, circling arms up and over the head. Breathing out, you can swallow dive this time to arrive into forward fold. Keep drawing up into your core. Breathe in and offer your spine forward. And breathing out, again find your way back and into down dog. A little bit of bend through the knees to really ease into the shape of down dog. Now again, either coming onto all fours to find your way down or else into plank. Then either pelvis back towards the heels or else lowering down onto the mat. Slide your way forward if you're on heels, onto the belly, and then in breath, we all arrive into a cobra. And out breath, we ease up and back into down dog again. Again, give yourself a little bit of movement if you want to in your down dog. And always ease the body from side to side. Swaying your hips out to one side so you stretch out the upper side of the waist. And then swaying them over to the other side. Gliding back to your center line, again both heels lifting, and a breath to squeeze the belly towards the thighs. Then looking forward towards your hands, we'll step the feet up towards the hands. Offer the spine forward, breathe out and fold. Breathing in again, root down into the soles of the feet. The arms will float up. And out breath, we bring both hands back and into the heart. Coming into chair pose with a big circle of the arms, we sit deep. The arms will float up above the head. And then out breath. Palms facing down, we take the hand straight out in front of us to shoulder height. We're still in chair here. Now an in-breath, the left arm will float up and behind the head. So fingers are facing away from one another, and you've come into twist in chair. Keep anchoring down into your feet. Use your belly to support the core. Left hand will scoop underneath the body to come back to face forward. And then your right hand will take a big circle up and behind you to take you into twist the other side. Your right hand will come underneath to rejoin the left. And then dropping a little fraction lower into your chair, both arms will circle up and over the head. And breathing out, you'll find your way back and into forward fold again. Now, you want both blocks by you here now, so just make sure you've got them or your cushions either sides. I'm putting mine on the middle setting here. They're either sides of my feet to the sides of the mat, and I'm stepping my right foot back. Nice big runner's lunge here, hands on the blocks either sides, toes tucked under. Breathe in and look up. So you can give your weight down into the hands and into the blocks. So almost like your pelvis is just drawing downwards, but feels supported. Belly to spine, looking up, lifting up through the chest. we drop the right knee down to the mat. So now we're in a low lunge, hands on the blocks. Lift up as high as you can here, through the spine. And drawing the spine forward, we put the blocks just out to the sides of the body. Hands either sides now on the mat. And we're going to ease this front leg back into a runner's lunge, half splits. Front leg straightens a little bit. You can take the toes up towards the ceiling. You may want to use the blocks there, thinking about it, either sides of the legs. So you've just got the hands a little bit higher up as well. And give yourself a few rounds of breath there. Make sure your shoulders are soft here. Make sure they're not drawing forwards too much. And breathing in, we'll plant the left foot down. And we're going to step the right foot. We're going to lift up the right knee. And we're going to step back and into down dog. Now you may want to take a couple of resting breaths here, down in child. If you're feeling a bit energized this morning, you can make your way through vinyasa, either to all fours and coming back towards heels and then into cobra. Or else from down dog, you can come forward into plank, lie down on the mat, into cobra. And we're all arrived back into down dog. Looking forward between the hands and stepping, walking the feet up towards them, up to the top of the mat. A big circle through the arms and you find your way up into standing. And from standing, arriving back and into forward fold. So using your blocks again, either sides of the feet. And this time we're going to step the left. Are we stepping the left foot, right foot back? Yes, I believe we are. Stepping the right foot back and driving in the runner's lunge. So again, you've got that sense of lift up through the body. And we're letting the pelvis hang between the shoulders. Another round of breath here. Must say I'm having a moments of hesitation about whether that should be the left leg stepped back rather than the right. Do correct if I've done it the wrong way. Otherwise it'll be a little bit kind of lopsided all day. When we're ready to, we're going to drop this right knee down. And so now we're in the lower lunge, hands still on the block, and we're lifting up through the spine as high as we can. You can almost visualize each vertebrae, one stacked on top of the other, like a ladder, drawing the spine up, drawing the skull up. And with your next round of breath, start to ease your way back and into the runner's lunge now. So you can walk the blocks back here a little bit, so you can put your hands on them. Last fingers will come down to the mat. You'll just come into the asana like that. Now a few rounds of breath, drawing up through this left leg, drawing up into the core. And then when you're ready to, hands coming forward again And the back leg's going to lift up. So you're lifting up the right knee, stretching out into that heel. And from there, we'll step the other foot back. And you're arriving back into down dog. Now, a little bit of stretching out either sides of the body here in down dog. So take your hips out to the right hand side until you find the opening along the left side of the body, under the left armpit, down through the left side of the body. And then you're swaying over to the other way, hips out to the left. And feeling the opening under the right armpit. Riding back to the center line, we'll all come down onto all fours. And from all fours, we're all going to arrive back and into an extended child, hands stretching out in front of you, pelvis towards the heels. See if you're holding any of the body's weight here. And where you feel that effort, can you soften that effort for the next few breaths? Can you let go of that effort? Let yourself arrive in the body as it is. Letting go of expectations. Just enjoying this next breath as it arises, as it passes. Now we're going to thread one arm in front, under the other now. It's your choice as to whether you stay low in child to do this, or whether you lift your pelvis up a little bit to do this. So we'll start threading the right arm underneath the left. You're either up a little bit higher, coming down onto the right temple, or else you can slide the pelvis back. So you're doing this in child, close to the floor. But wherever you are in the doing of this, really letting yourself relax into the lines of the body. Let your breath fill and swell through the body. Let yourself rest in the comfort of the breath. Taking the right hand out now, we'll come to do the other side now. So again, coming a little bit higher, left hand underneath the right and down onto your left temple, while sliding the pelvis back towards heels onto the other side. And from that, both hands sliding out in front of you, and you're lifting back and onto all fours. So make sure there's a bit of space between your knees and feet so your hips width apart. And just a few breaths with your spine in neutral to feel your core. Feel that lift up through the base of the spine, up and into the belly. Now this is your starting point. It's almost like that's your battery inside the body. So as you start to move into your cat and cow in the next moment or so, move from this point here. Really feel that as the starting, the end point of movement through the body. So we breathe out and we curve the spine up. We're drawing the belly up towards the base of the spine. And still keeping that lift, we're easing the spine through between the shoulders. Breathing in. Another out breath, sit bones will tuck under, the spine will curve up, belly to spine. And holding that lift of belly to spine will take the spine through between shoulders. So working and moving with your own breath flow here. And letting your spine mirror and reflect the flow of the breath through the movement. And then letting your spine for a few moments move however, wherever it wants to. For a few moments to be in stillness, if that's what you would prefer. And in the next breath or so, we're all going to find our way into sitting. And we're going to take the feet in front of us into a little V shape. So you've got a diamond shape through the legs. Hands are going to come down towards the feet. So first of all, just a little bit of self-care. If you do feel any starting of, sore throats or sinuses or colds or coughs, that kind of thing, just as a good preventative, squeeze your toes. I know it sounds a bit silly. I'm trying to see if you can actually see what I'm doing there. So your toes, you've got lots of little reflex points just at the base of each toes and going up through the toes. And those are your sinus points and reflex terms. And as a preventative, just massaging into each toe. I find the inner edges often are quite sore, which kind of says something. Really can help to shift things, keep those channels, sinus channels, clear. Got little points there, that's your eustachian tube in your fourth toe. So just squeezing into them can work wonders to keep the coughs and colds at bay. We'll just work through one foot. And then you can do this with your feet on the ground, so you're working with your hips as well. You can take your thumb down to the opposite foot and just quickly squeeze, or slowly squeeze through each toe there. You can also get your partners to do this, which feels very nice. I say now, hands are now coming down to the feet, and we're holding the feet, and as if you were prizing a book, the pages of a book up towards the ceiling, pressing the thumbs into the soles of the feet to encourage the soles of the feet to prise open up to the ceiling. And then into this little space now you're creating through the legs. We're going to breathe in and lift. And breathing out, we're going to slide the spine down towards it. And you can drop your head down for the next breath or so. And arriving back and into sitting, and we'll bring the knees together Stretch out the legs out in front of you. Fingertips coming up to the chest now. Now feel underneath your collarbones, out towards either shoulder. You can feel there's a little ridge just underneath the collarbones, especially when you come out towards the armpits. And we're just going to tap along that. These are your lung points, Chinese medicine. Bringing a little bit of energy into the chest. Helps to again clear any congestion, anything that's a bit stuck along that meridian line. And we'll just take a little moment just to focus on this point, on these points, coming out towards the arms. You can kind of feel there's a little hollow there, out towards your clavicle, the collarbone. We're just tapping into there. Coming back towards the chest. And then we'll take the hands away from the body, palms facing down. And breathing out, we're taking some of that energy down and towards our belly. And our hands can rest on the belly there. Slide your hands now with your in-breath down the legs towards the feet. And breathing out, let your head come down to rest between the shoulders into forward fold. Breathing in, start to draw your spine up and into sitting again. And then bending your knees and arriving down on the spine, feet to the floor and arms out to either side of the body. So breathing in, your right knee will come out towards the mat. Your left knee is going to stay upright. Your gaze will come down towards the left hand. Take the right knee up to the center line and your left knee down towards the left hand side. Right knee will stay upright. Left knee draws up. Down the other way. And we come to the other side. Now start to bend your knees and take your heels off the ground. And with the heels off the ground, we'll lift the feet a little bit way off the floor, up into the sky. Now both knees working together, we'll drop them over to the right hand side. Now gaze will come down the left arm. Now you can either bring the right hand down to support the knees back up to the center line or using the core muscles to get them back up there. Again, lift the feet up into the air a little bit. And then using the core, we'll drop both knees together down to the left hand side. We'll take the gaze out along the right arm. And taking both of your knees back to your center line. And then dropping your feet down to the mat. Both hands by the sides of the body now, and stretching out each leg in turn. You lift one shoulder and taking that shoulder up towards your ear and then shuffling it back down. It's almost like you're tucking your shoulder blade underneath the spine, under the back. And we'll lift up the right shoulder and draw it up to the ear and then just slide it down the mat away from the neck. Make sure both palms are facing up to the ceiling. And arriving in Shavasana, feeling your body in stillness, flow of your energy, even as the body is still. Letting yourself rest, fill up in this current of vitality. Letting your body find balance, no balance. Letting your mind reset in this space. Feeling the sensation of breath inside you. Feeling your breath as light. Feeling light infuse the body and touch every cell, every molecule within you in light. Feel light. Be light. Starting to move your head from side to side between shoulders. And then moving fingers together and toes together. And breathing in, if you stretch your arms up and over the head to the floor behind you. Take a full body stretch there. And then bringing the arms down as you breathe out. And from here, when you're ready to, if you bend your knees, and with knees bent, roll over onto one side of the body. And from that side, find your way up and into sitting again. So arriving in a comfortable seat now and hands resting in the lap. And breathing in, hands will lift up to the heart level. And breathing out, palms will come back down again. Breathing in, feeling your energy rise with the hands from the base of the spine to heart, and out breath. Feeling your energy center down at the base of the spine. And do a couple more rounds. And lifting hands up to the heart, palms rising to the heart, and pausing there this time to take your palms into prayer at the heart. For your energy, your awareness, connect to heart. And here, bowing the head down to self, to each other, and to the heart's wisdom. And to that within us, which is boundless. And closing your practice. Thank you.